The episode begins with Thorfinn and others shifting into a ship during the rain, while everyone enjoys the weather. Thorfinn is told not to sit idle, or he'll be swallowed by the sea, but he ignores it, making Skall smile. Later, Leif starts, narrating about Danish Vikings who lived like pirates and robbers and attacked England for its fertile lands. They settled in the north but were attacked in 2002 by the English, triggering stronger Danish retaliation. The story shifts to the battlefield, where Thorfinn sees many dead bodies and is shocked. Askeladd comments on the massacre. Thorfinn vomits upon seeing intestines but continues. Bjorn notes the enemies don't look like real soldiers, and Askeladd explains that Denmark now hires anyone for war. They rest at a camp and discuss sharing loot from future battles. Suddenly, arrows rain down and chaos erupts. In the fight, Thorfinn kills a soldier and recalls Skall's words to earn something meaningful in war. He stabs enemies viciously and grows more skilled, impressing Bjorn. Thorfinn then ends up wounded and unconscious near a village. A woman and her daughter take care of him. He tries to hide his identity, but soldiers come searching. Later, he kills soldiers to protect them, scares the villagers, and tells them to flee. The episode ends as he joins the next attack silently. The episode begins with many English villagers leaving their homes after the Vikings and Danes burned them down. At Denmark's palace, Floki tells the king that they haven't called the army back, only given them rest because fighting in winter has weakened them. The king agrees and says they will attack next summer and he will lead the army himself. In England, soldiers discuss taking a break and returning home, thinking they won't need pirates anymore. Bjorn and Askeladd argue about what to do next, and they decide to go where food is, like birds. In France, a failed attack on a castle leads to heavy losses. Askeladd senses the French are fighting among themselves and smells treasure. He plans to help one side in exchange for half the treasure. Thorfinn is sent with a message threatening that if they refuse, 100 Viking warriors will attack. The deal is accepted. Askeladd and his men prepare for a surprise attack from the river. The next day, as the battle begins, Thorfinn leaps over the castle wall and wreaks havoc. The Vikings breach the gate and wipe out the defenders. Askeladd mocks the enemy commander and escapes with the treasure. Thorfinn returns with the enemy leader's head, claiming his reward and challenging Askeladd to a duel. The episode begins with the Askeladd's ship, and Bjorn says they've survived another year, to which Askeladd jokes he's still alive, and everyone laughs when they see slaves pulling carts uphill, calling it a cheap uncle trick. Askeladd stares at Scroot as the intro rolls. Post-intro, children walk towards the ship in Jutland Peninsula, November 1012. Villagers cheer, and one boy draws his sword, eager to join Askeladd, while another mocks him. They laugh and push Thorfinn, who stares back coldly. A group of girls welcome the warriors and scholar flirts, giving out necklaces. Askeladd complains about the women's manners and starts talking money. He promises food and drink for everyone, paying all costs. His slave girl Hordaland is ordered to fetch wine. Askeladd reveals she was a Norse princess sold after war. Outside, Thorfinn challenges him to a duel, blaming him for misusing the slave. A crowd gathers. Askeladd mocks Thorfinn's fathers, death and forgets his name, enraging Thorfinn. They fight, but Askeladd easily deflects all attacks. Later, Thorfinn dreams of his father Thor's telling him that a true warrior doesn't need a sword. Meanwhile, Askeladd discusses freedom and pride with Hordaland. 9 months later, Danish forces prepare to invade England, led by King Svein and Prince Canute, as the episode ends with Thorkel in battle. The episode begins in October 2013 at the London Bridge, where the warriors arrive and Wrestler comments on how the bridge doesn't even look real. Bjorn warns that the city might be troublesome, and that he only came because he was told it would. Be an easy win. Scholar apologizes, saying he didn't know Thorkel would join the enemy. Bjorn is shocked, saying Thorkel turned traitor for money, but Scholar reminds him they're also fighting for money and promises of land from Denmark. Bjorn says he doesn't fight for money, but to die gloriously. As they observe the Thames, they realize its strategic value. Bjorn encourages Scholar to make a name for himself here. Scholar admits there's no solid plan, but something's in motion. then calls out Thorkel's name and demands his head. Thorfinn steps up, demanding a reward in return. Scholar agrees, and they talk about battles that become obsessions, like the one Thorfinn inherited from his father. Thorfinn attacks Thorkel, and they clash fiercely. Despite the size difference, Thorfinn manages to dodge, analyze Thorkel's weaknesses, and strike back. Thorkel is impressed and eventually captures Thorfinn, but Thorfinn escapes by biting his fingers. He shouts his name, revealing he's Thor's son, which shocks Thorkel. The episode ends with both sides retreating. The episode begins with soldiers talking among themselves, wondering why the prince isn't attacking, assuming he's scared. Suddenly, Thorkel throws a stone at them, mocking them to attack him, calling them a useless bunch. Enraged, a few soldiers urge to strike, but Ragnar holds them back, reminding them of their duty to maintain the siege. Meanwhile, Vagn and Knut share a quiet moment of prayer. Thorkel's companion talks to him about the army's hesitation, revealing they are under Prince Knut's command. Thorkel smiles ominously. Elsewhere, Thorfinn enjoys the peace of nature, talking to his father Thors, who tells him to protect his mother and sister. Suddenly, the village is attacked, and Thors is struck by arrows, shocking Thorfinn awake. In the present, Askeladd's men loot villages while debating their actions. Bjorn breaks up a fight, and Thorfinn reflects on his past. Askeladd discusses the history of Britannia and the fall of Romans, hinting at the cycle of power. Suddenly, a lone rider arrives with news that Thorkel is approaching with 500 men. Askeladd's army prepares to defend Prince Canute with only 400 tired soldiers. Askeladd rallies them with promises of fortune, declaring they won't let anyone else take the prince, ending the episode on a bold note.